All right, 8countnews.com is here with somebody who needs no formal introduction, Mr. Teddy Atlas. Teddy, big fight tonight for Jermain Taylor and Sam Soliman. Give me your thoughts on tonight's fight.
Hey, Soliman got hurt. You know, it might have been more interesting if he didn't get hurt. But I'll tell you, you know, both of them came in. One guy came in a champion. The other guy came into the ring wanting to become a champion. But for me, the way I look at it, they both left champions.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, I mean,
True.
to me, that's the way to look at it, because Taylor got the title, but the other guy, Soliman, 40 years old, he sure as hell.
It's like a Rocky movie.
He sure as hell acted and behaved like a champion.
Yeah. You should have saw him in the back, man. Still smiles, hugs, happy. Gave credit to Jermain.
He became a champion at 40 wasn't because God gave him a lot of physical ability.
Right.
Jermain Taylor got more physical ability than Soliman. Soliman showed you why he won a title at 40, because of his heart, his resiliency, his never die attitude. And he showed that tonight. And for me, he's still a champ in that way.
He's a guy that's an awkward kind of fighter, and I told him back the stage a few minutes ago that having a bum leg with his style really
that was the end of him. That was the end of him.
Yeah.
Because, you know, his whole thing is chaos. Helter-skelter. You know, being all over the place. I described him, I don't know that a fighter was ever described the way I described him on the air tonight. I said, I remember when you were a kid and you went into a science project in school and you brought in that liquid metal called mercury, and you dropped it on the desk and splattered everywhere. I said, that's Sam Soliman. You know,
it's a good analogy.
He's all over the place, and he couldn't be all over the place with a bad leg. And so once the leg went, Sam Soliman's style, everything that is contingent on him winning and giving you problems and creating that kind of, you know, havoc style, that kind of chaos style, it was out the door once that happened.
What's the future for both? What's the future for Jermain? What's the future for Sam, you think, going forward?
Well, I mean, Sam, you know, he's 40 years old. I mean, but then again, there's somebody out there named Hopkins who's been doing it a little longer than that. But look, Sam's an awkward guy. He's a durable guy. But you wonder when that durability starts to wane a little bit when you're 40 years old and above. And for Jermain, look, very honestly, I'm candid. I say what I believe, even if I know that it puts me in a position that some people might take little shots at me.
You've never done that before, Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say it. I'm going to be consistent with that. And I said before the fight that I'm worried about Jermain Taylor having had a brain bleed some years ago and being in the ring. Now, look, he won. Did he prove me wrong? I don't know. I hope he stays healthy for the rest of his career and the rest of his life. But he didn't get hit much tonight. I would still be concerned about that when he fights now that he's got the title and all the big dogs are going to be after him.
Absolutely.
You know, I'd still be concerned about whether or not his health is going to stay okay.
Did you see anything in Jermain's fight game that was slowing down at all, or was his hand speed where he usually was? His movement,
I think early on the rust, he was there. You know, he wasn't pulling the trigger on punches when Soliman was coming at him, and he was overshooting his jab. He was jabbing and getting too close, falling in, and then he would overshoot his right hand. But I think he settled down a little bit when some of that rust went away a little bit.
What were your thoughts on Durrell? How do you think Andre Durrell did?
Listen, he was in there with a guy who was supposed to knock out.
Right.
If I could go on the air before the fight starts and say he's going to knock him out in 4 rounds, guess what? He's probably got the right guy in front of him. You know, but I like Durrell. You know, I like him and his brother. I like where they've come from. I like the way that they conduct themselves. And look, I'd like to see Durrell do what his brother did, get a world title, get an opportunity to fight for a world title. And without Heyman on the track that he's on, I'm sure that he will get that opportunity, and hopefully he'll be as prepared for it as he can. He's got all the talent. You know, he's got good reflexes, even at 30 now. He's got quick hands. You know, he's got the Olympic background. He's got the amateur background. Now he's got to be active. You know, he wasn't active. He has to stay active and then get that shot.
Okay, last thing I got, all my readers would kill me if I didn't ask you this question. Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, in your professional opinion, is this fight ever going to happen?
No, I don't think so. I think the main players are behind the scenes, like Bob Arum and, you know, like that. I don't know that they really want the fight to happen, to be quite honest.
What is your theory why? There's so much money to be made.
See, that's what everyone thinks for the fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, the universe of money for the fighters is huge.
Right.
But then if a guy like Bob Arum, who's a Harvard Law graduate, pretty smart, CEO, You know, money means something. He knows how to make money. He's made a lot of it. He's 80 years old. He's made a lot of it for a lot of years. He's probably the most consistent promoter out there. There's no doubt. Give him his due. Give the devil his due.
Absolutely.
But if he promotes that fight, his universe changes because he has to co-promote with Mayweather. And now he has to maybe open up the books, so to speak, a little differently.
Right.
And maybe the universe for the fighters is this big, but maybe his universe isn't as big to make money. And he's the guy who calls the shots. He's the CEO of Top Rank. He's the guy who's leading Manny right now. And if his universe, if Bob's universe isn't as big as it should be for the real big fight, but it's only big for the fighters, chances are you might not see that fight.
If they ever did fight, if in theory they ever did fight, who do you think would win?
You know, that keeps changing because they're getting older.
Yeah.
By the time they fight, they're going to be collecting Social Security. And that's going to change everything.
Yeah.
I mean, well, look, Floyd is what he is. He's a real careful boxer. He's a real good boxer. He's a real scientific guy. He's a real defensive guy. He's a real careful guy. Manny would have a chance out hustle a guy like that, to be honest with you.
Right.
You know, Floyd would have to move his hands more than he has in some of these other fights. Otherwise, there'd be a danger, a chance for Manny maybe to outwork him, out-hustle.
Where does he go from here? Does he fight Amir Khan, you think, next? Or what?
Yeah, look, he's got 2 fights left on that huge contract. You know, and as smart as he's been in the ring, he being Floyd, of course, he's been pretty smart picking his guys, right?
Yeah.
And you know, he'll pick the guy that makes the most sense. Maybe he picks Amir Khan. I mean, it's a big fight in London. It's really not a big fight here, but there's a lot of money over there.
Over in Wembley or something. Right.
But I'm sure that he doesn't want to go to Wembley. I'm sure Floyd wants to stay where he's comfortable at the MGM. And he calls the shots. So, you know, you would think maybe someone like that. The funny thing, even though that's a fight that I'm not chomping at the bit to see, and I don't think anyone is, that's a tough style for.
I think Amir Khan will give him some
because of the jab and the hand speed.
He's fast,
and be able to control the outside a little bit.
Teddy, thank you as always, Appreciate you doing this.